All right. So it's another interesting and intense week that resulted in building my eighth project, which is a run club app. It's a local based project that I decided to build, which is pretty simple. So I decided to make it complicated this week by doing something pretty extreme that I'm going to talk about in a second. If this is the first video that you're watching, I'm LJ, and I'm on a track to build 50 projects in 2025 as a part of my self-imposed 1550 challenge. So every Saturday morning, like today, I'm publishing a new app and then explaining a little bit about why did I decide to build it, how does the app work, and we're following demo, which tech stack was used, things that I've did for the first time ever, and I plan to improve, challenges that I faced, and then I just give myself a final score for that week. So there's a few reasons why I decided to build this app. So aside from making the New Year's resolution to build 50 apps this year, I made a couple more, and one of them was just trying to get into a better shape. And so I joined a local run club that meets on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. here where I live. Um, I noticed that after people finish their runs, they're being logged on a punch card, which no, it is a really reliable source of truth, right? Because there's a person that actually needs to stamp it. But it's 2025, and people tell me they lose these all the time, and so I just decided that I'm just going to build an app for the run club and give it away to them, so they're not even aware that I'm doing this right now. I'm going to give it away to them this upcoming Wednesday, and hopefully they'll like it. The app itself is really simple. As I said, runner register, they will be prompted to go to the run page, which has a stopwatch where they can start, pause, or submit their time while they're running on the route. Um, and then obviously based on the number of their runs, the average time uh, is calculated, and they can redeem rewards, which are already a part of the whole run club. And then finally, I built like a sort of a community page where members can share their achievements and socialize with one another, basically. So let's get right to the demo. This is the landing page, zero work put into it. This is the first run. So I did not do any landing page designs because it's not important. I'm not out there trying to actively acquire users through marketing, because that's the run club already exists. I would be recruiting members, or they would be recruiting members for the app in person. So it's just there so that people can land somewhere, see how many registered users and how many runs were completed. So that's compiled from the backend database. And this number will be hopefully in hundreds and hundreds of runs and users, because it's a pretty big community too. Some testimonials that are like placeholders that I'll replace happily with the real ones, and then more information about the sort of the company stuff. Now, because this is a mobile first app, 1,000,000%, like it's not designed for desktop, I'm going to continue the demo directly from Lovable and just switch over to the mobile screen. And as you can see, when we are on mobile screen and when we're logged in as an active user, the first thing that I have is a weather widget, which you can see isn't synced in real time. It has like a 10-minute delay, which is a little bit unfortunate, because right now it's 64 degrees and it's showing that it's 60. I'm still trying to figure out how to get it as close as possible to real time. But what you can see here when you're on mobile is like, okay, this is the community run. This is how many runners are in our community, which is kind of like how many people so far have completed it. How many did you complete, and what's your total distance and average time, and your recent activity. Now you can see this prompt, install the app. So again, this is a progressive web app. So if you're a mobile user, when you log in, you will be prompted to install the app with an explanation of like the benefits of it, and you can click to install now, and that will, on an Android device at least, add the home icon automatically. On iOS, things look a little bit different, because of their privacy and whatnot. So the user would have to do some manual work, but in general, they would be able to kind of still install the icon and experience this almost as a native app. The second screen here is the run screen. and I switched to desktop just so that I can dismiss the install app prompt, because I really want people to install it. I feel like that browser experience sucks. They would need to install it properly. This is the route that's being tracked. I built this through an integration from another from OpenMap. Um, yeah, and you can see here where I would show you the distance on every step of the way. Where are you at with the miles? You can toggle this to get elevation information to see like, okay, this is the bridge, and then this is, I don't know, whatever else, some running tips and whatnot. You can change the viewpoint, move around with the app, dismiss all of this. So all that's great. And then you can obviously start running, right? And let's say you completed your run, you can pause, you can either reset or submit. When you submit, the run gets calculated towards your total number of runs and your distance as well as your average time. Then we have a community leaderboard as well, where you can see, okay, this is what everybody ran so far. And then, as I mentioned, there's a community tab where people can just, create posts and put comments in and whatever. It's just kind of an engagement piece of the whole app. The runners can also, as I mentioned earlier, redeem rewards based on their number of runs. Every 10th run, beer glass, swag, a gift certificate. Then people can obviously invite a friend. If they click on that basically creates this QR code or pops up this QR code, which if somebody on another device scans, they would immediately access the app, or better say the website. And then finally, for myself and for them, I've built also an admin dashboard, which allows us to moderate, obviously, because you never know who may sign up, to use the app, to spam on the posts or comments or whatever. So you can easily go in and click view and see their runs, see their posts and their comments, and basically remove anything that you want to remove. Because some people may also make a mistake of like, oh, I've clicked, I stopped my time too early. My run is like 3 seconds and it's supposed to be 30 minutes. Like, yeah, we can definitely change that if anybody needs to have that change at some point in time. So yeah, that's the app. Very simple. So because the app is simple and it took almost no time to build, I've decided to test myself by doing something pretty extreme, which I'm going to talk about in a second. For the app itself that you're seeing as you're seeing it, I've used Lovable, as you saw, for the front end as usual. Supabase for backend, deployed it using Vercel. And my tip for the week is like, because some people were like, why would you build something like this? It doesn't make you any money. You're not going to make any money. Build projects that are fun. That's just my tip for anybody. Don't get distracted by other people's goals, especially if they're monetary. Mine are definitely not at this point in my life. So I'm just doing this for fun and enjoying the process. Things that I've did for the first time ever this time around. I've used this extension that I found through Lovable's Discord called Lovify, and I can say it really puts Lovable on steroids. I can show you real quick a couple of features. So anybody that uses Lovable on default does not have these icons, right? One of them is the rubber duck debug. The other one enhances your AI prompt. With a slash, you can open a console to add your docs, define authentication, insert any saved prompts, add integrations, configure SEO, clean up your code, which I've been told doesn't work perfectly. But Lovify extension itself, which can be found by just on lovify.lovable.app, just really works great. It has this plan function. I didn't use that for this project, but technically you can build a plan for your project and tick off what was done and what's next. And like, it really gives a little bit of a better perspective on how to build apps in a scalable way. So that's great. The challenge for this week was actually trying to build this one project with 11 different apps, right? So I've actually used 11 different AI coding tools this week. I'm going to create a separate video on my feedback for that. on which one's the best and why. But yeah, I mean, it just got a little bit crazy, I want to say, for the first couple of days, switching between all of them, trying to build the same thing in each and every one of them. Long story short, for this video, Lovable still remains my favorite and the best in my book. Another thing that I started doing and became a fan of, which I hated initially, is refactoring. Lovable is usually the one who suggests refactoring files. This time around, I was the one who started initiating it sooner because I finally understand how and when to do it for my own personal benefit. I added the custom iframes and widgets to pull up route, weather, as you saw already in the demo. And again, as seen, this is the first app where I have any community built-in elements. I've never done that before. Things that I think should be improved is definitely some marketing copy and definitely the design. I'm not a big fan of how the design turned out. I'm still not able to control it 100% in Lovable. I spoke with a friend who's a part of this club, and he's like, yeah, well, this is great. The app's great. Everything's nice. But will people cheat, right? Will people, because technically anybody can install this and start the clock and log the time, even though they're not located where we are, or they're not even there on the time and day. So I may decide when I talk to the guys, when I give them the app, I'll ask them if they want this function of like, hey, do we want to put geofencing in place so that you can only use the app along the route, and then that you can only have some time restrictions. So yeah, it's not just location based, but it's like it can only be on Wednesday afternoons or something like that. And they're probably gonna have some other feedback that I may implement as well. The biggest challenge, honestly, once I sat down and said, okay, I'm just gonna use Lovable for this, like this was a piece of cake. Like it was very easy to build. The crazy bit was just myself imposing this challenge of like, hey, why don't you try and use every single app that you're aware of that is like an IDE that the way I look at it, like a visual builder to build this. And I definitely don't want to recommend anybody doing that. Again, I'll have a separate video on that recorded, and I'll say exactly why I think it's kind of a crazy concept and nobody should jump on that if they don't need to. And then the final score, the app is 8 out of 10. It does everything that I do. I hate the design of it. I love it. So I'm just giving myself an 8. The landing page is a 5 out of 10. As usually, I'll give myself a 5 out of 10 if it exists, but zero work has been put into it. You can check out the app on 99bottles.run. Don't install it, please. I mean, I'll delete your profile if you do. Because obviously it's meant to be used by the local community. And I look forward to building the next app next week. I think it's going to be something interesting. I'm going to try a couple of new things that I had on my mind. And until my next video, whether that's on Saturday or I may, as I said, come up with a video talking about the 11 IDEs I used, keep shipping, guys.